You want to protect your child from all the filth that's online, but you have no idea how to. In this video, I will tell you everything you need to know about preventing your children from accessing inappropriate content online. My name is Jack Hughes and I help parents protect kids online. I grew up in this digital age and I have a lot of experience with parental controls. I know them inside and out. And I also have a lot of experience with doing stuff online that I was supposed to. But those days are now behind me. I now help you, the parent, in protecting your children from doing exactly what I did as a kid. Now, if you have any more questions or need any more assistance, please feel free to check out my website at parenttech.support. Why does your child need an internet filter on their device? Well, there is a lot of filth and pornographic content on the internet, and you want to protect your child from all that junk. But on the other hand, the internet is a crucial tool in modern society. We need the internet for research purposes, whether that's for entertainment or games, whether that's ordering food, almost anything. Everything in life really these days requires the internet, and it's just a staple of modern society, which is where internet filters come in. They give you the good without giving you the bad. Now, almost every service in phone has a internet filter. Services like Bark, Family Safe, Kids Lock, they all include internet filters. And what they do is they monitor a device and block certain websites. I'm going to be using Screen Time, which comes on iOS devices and Macs, just because it's probably the most popular, especially in America, because it comes built into every iPhone. Now, in order to navigate to the iPhone's built-in internet filter, you're going to go to Settings. You're going to go down to Screen Time. And then from Screen Time, you're going to go into Content and Privacy Restrictions here. Once you're in here, you're going to go into Content Restrictions. It's going to ask you to type in a password. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and press on Web Content right here. And here is where you're able to set up a internet filter or set up the filter. Here, Apple gives you 3 options for the filter. That is unrestricted, limit adult websites, and allowed websites. Unrestricted is pretty self-explanatory. That means there's no filter. It's just unrestricted access to the internet. Limit adult websites is essentially Apple has a massive list of websites that it knows has adult content, and it doesn't allow the phone to look up those websites. So those would be the main pornographic websites. And then it has allowed websites only. So allowed websites is you're able to go through and pick certain websites that you allow for the device to use. So practically, once you put it on allowed websites only, it blocks every single website on the internet except for a few that you're able to add into there that it will allow. So if you turn on allowed websites, it would block every website, but if you allow it to use google.com or YouTube, it will allow those websites, but no other websites. Now, between the two choices, limit adult websites and allowed websites, now there are pros and cons to each different filter, the limit adult websites and the allowed websites only. Pros for limit adult websites is it allows pretty much every website on the internet except for the bad ones. But then again, there are 200,000 new websites uploaded to the internet every single day. And chances are a few of those websites contain pornographic content, and the phone doesn't realize that those websites has pornographic content on them. So it can't 100% of the time catch every single website that has adult content on it because there's just so many out there. So most of the time, the limit adult websites works, but sometimes it doesn't work. Another time that it's unable to catch adult content is if it's on services that normally wouldn't have adult content. So services like YouTube, it allows the website YouTube on their phone because YouTube normally doesn't have pornographic content. But if you search hard enough in YouTube, you'll be able to find it on YouTube or Twitter, for example. This filter allows twitter.com on the phone, but you can still find adult content on Twitter and it will allow it because it's on Twitter. I'd say you're about 95% safe when you use the limit adult websites option. Now the allowed websites option, so the third option, is super duper secure. It doesn't have any of the cons as what we just discussed, but the problem comes in when your child or someone has to research for a paper, for example. So because it's only a whitelist, because you only allow a certain number of websites, if your child has to access a new website, let's say they're researching for a paper or they have to go to a website for school or whatever, they have to go to you and you have to type in the password and you have to manually enter that website into here, and it's just a big mess and it's super slow and super clunky and annoying. But if that's what it takes to keep your child safe, then the cons are worth it. However, there are a few tips and tricks you can use on the first option to help mitigate a lot of the risks. So number one is you can stack parental control services on top of each other. You can use services like Bark, Family Safe, RPact, all on top of that to search for adult content. So pretty much what I'm saying is, let's say there's 100 websites out there and Apple catches 95% of them, but yet there's still 5% of websites that get through the cracks. And however, if you have Bark on there and Bark catches also 95% of all the websites, then you just narrowed that 95 or that 5% down to like 1%. Then if you add another parental controls on there, then it limits that 1% down to like a 0.01%. If you stack parental controls on top of each other, it's going to be a lot safer that way. And that's one of the ways you're able to mitigate that risk. And number two, this is probably one of the most important things, and you should do this regardless of which filter they have, is to monitor their search history. If you see that they're on YouTube and they're watching a really sketchy video, you're able to go and see what video they're watching, and turns out that video could have adult content on it, even if it's on YouTube. Just monitor their search history. If they're on limit adult websites, so the second option that's not as secure as the third option, but you still want them to have freedom, the best thing you can do is to monitor their browsing history, even if they're on allowed websites only. Because I said this before, there's no 100% safe parental control service out there. There's always going to be a crack or two here. Just like the maximum security prison can still be escaped by like a 0.1% chance or whatever. There's always going to be cracks. There's always going to be little ways you can slither around. If you monitor that, if you monitor what they're looking up, it's going to make everything a lot harder, and you're going to be able to catch that and have a talk with them, whatever it is. I hope this small crash course on internet filters has better equipped you to help protect your child online. If you have any more questions or need any more assistance, please feel free to check out my website at parenttech.support. Thank you.